And we're live.
Aren't we live?
We're live, I think.
Podcast, episode 90, 508, April 23rd.
This is all a conscript in the Matrix. Speaking of which, Kiona, I got something awesome for you. Because Morpheus is going to be in the new John Wick, you should end the John Wick saga with the choice of the red pill or the blue pill. So your whole John Wick world would be a construct.
Is Morpheus really going to be in John?
Yeah, Morpheus is in the next one. So 100% he's in the next one.
The next John Wick.
In number 3, Morpheus is in, not as Morpheus, but
right.
The actor.
Well, he was in the last one too.
But the actor, and that's what I'm saying. I think even in this, because maybe I'm just catching all the, maybe these are Easter eggs.
It's not Lawrence Fishburne.
Maybe
it's a different black dude.
No, it's the same.
No, you don't even know any black folks. You just think they all look the same.
No, I know.
Except Jay Jones.
I know Jay Jones.
He looks very different than all the rest of the
I know Jay Jones.
That's the only black man you know, isn't it?
It's Morpheus that is in there, and I believe, and I know it was just
it's not Morpheus.
It's 100% Morpheus.
No, it's not.
And I believe John needs to rewatch the movie because he was probably sleeping during all of those.
I watch the movie every night. I have it just running. It's running right now. It's in my bedroom right now.
He was sleeping during all those movies, so it doesn't matter.
You can't sleep through John Wick.
And I believe
they're not going to be able to finish.
That there's a little snippet of the girl. I can't think of the actress's name.
I heard they're not going to be able to finish John Wick 4.
Why?
Because that SEAL that is teaching him CQB shot him. Fucking kept. I heard he got shot.
Oh, but it wouldn't
kill John Wick.
It wouldn't kill Keanu Reeves.
Why?
Because Keanu Reeves is an
immortal.
Vampire. Yeah, he's an immortal. He's not a vampire because all the pictures that you see taken of him are during the day. He's just an immortal. He's probably the one.
We have a truck broken down.
Mm-hmm.
We have a truck broken down in Atlanta. Here's the message I got. The front driver's side brake locked up.
Okay.
And there's smoke billowing out of it.
Okay.
That's all I got. I'm like, where are you at? I said, Google, just put in like auto repair and find the one that's like Pep Boys or somewhere, with a service bay that's open till 9 or whatever. Limp the truck off, see what you can get. So I tell Pierre. Pierre's like, I'll talk to him. Pierre hits me back. He's like, he's good. I'm like, he's good as in the truck doesn't need repair. He can move the other 45 miles to pick the equipment up. So Cody just hit me up and he's like, I got it. I'm like, what does that mean? I said, so you're on your way? He said, no, I'm about to get this fixed. Just trying to get to the place with the parts. Got it. Okay. I thought it was going to be like, the brake was just dragging. It's fucking superheated and warped the rotor, or it's going to be a hub or something. So Cody is capable of fixing that better than I am. I mean, they have a whole tool set with them and everything.
He'll either be fine or he won't.
Oh no, I'm not worried about him not being fine.
We're too far for rescue, so wild animals will either get him or they won't.
They have a fucking steel tent with them. I mean, they can sleep in that fucking truck. We have plenty of people in Atlanta should have come to that. We'll just carry into these. John, if you could only keep one vehicle, what would it be? And you can't do what Skully did and say I'd keep them all. Keep 3. Push come to shove, boom. They're all on fire and I only have time to put one out. Man, I'd probably put the Toyota truck out. It would probably be maybe the Excursion. Like, are we talking like the most value, the most practical, the one I use the most? Like, what are we talking about? The Toyota isn't completely paid for, so I could let it burn to the ground and they'll just hand me a new one. Well, any of them would with insurance, really.
Yeah.
But like, they don't make an Excursion anymore. Replacement value on the Excursion's not going to really replace the Excursion. Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't be none of the cars. It'd be... I drive the Toyota the most. We're supposed to swap it out this weekend.
It's so cute.
We're gonna get there and they're gonna have the wrong truck.
It's not
gonna have dual temperature
You're
zones.
gonna get there and they're gonna be like, oh man,
it's not gonna have the carbon fiber dash that's supposed to be all through it.
We didn't do the $10,000 indemnity clause. This is gonna take a little bit more time.
Just watched a video of a guy at Big Sandy Shoot who had a steel frame with ball turret off a B-17 mounted on it with twin 50 cals you could hire and shoot. Would that be legal to own in Tennessee with appropriate permits? I'm sure it would, man. It would just be the machine guns, right? I know it's not an Abrams or an A-10, but you'd have to agree it would be an awesome addition to your collection, Skully. Even if it cost you a small fortune to shoot, the guy that had to get in those things in World War II must have had testicles the size of bowling balls. Cheers, Brad.
You had to be a really small guy too.
Big Sandy Shoot. Doesn't he mean the Knob Creek Shoot, probably?
I have seen that thing, and that thing is fucking badass. I wouldn't even care if I could ever shoot the guns. Just having a motorized ball turret that you could fucking have in your living room as a display piece would be fucking awesome, because that thing is pretty awesome. I had always thought about, I didn't know why we didn't do like a plexiglass, not a ball turret, but like the top turrets. Why we didn't do a Lexan top turret for the Humvees, so you could see 360, but you would still have some protection from small arms and fucking shrapnel.
Like the Pope glass.
Yeah, like Pope glass, like Pope Mobile.
Like the Pope Volkswagen.
And it's cool. It still wouldn't be as cool as an M1 Abrams, though.
Hello, John Skully. Thanks for the podcast. I feel guilty for asking, because I have before, about my Cobra belt that I messed up. After watching, I would rather order again. My question is, could you round... No, we can't. We're not going to. Could you round or 45 the corner of my belt, getting arthritic in my fingers? As an aside, I've been jonesing for an LBV. The one I see on the site is an off color and thread. If you ever make another one in Woodland, etc., please email me. Dude, who the fuck is this? First of all, we're never going to email you. I have not a clue who you are. Michael Martin. I have no fucking idea who you are. We will not deviate the belts, because inevitably somebody's going to get the belt and be like, hey, apparently I've lost weight. And then you send a belt back in here we can't do fucking anything with, because it's not what we build. We build fucking over 1,000 belts a week. For every 1,000 that goes out, there's 3, maybe 4 dudes that need to change size and shit. We're not, we don't deviate. We've got them exactly how we want them. Number 2, as far as the LBV, we will probably build some LBVs, but if I had 100 of them, we'd sell them in 5 minutes. So tracking you down to find you, I literally have not a clue who you are. We could build fucking rainbow sherbet color and sell fucking every 100 of them. So you have to do your due diligence and interact on our social media, because Facebook has us spoiled right now. It's too easy for me to sell shit. I literally sell it. I will post it on Instagram or MeWe and then Instagram, and literally by the time I get to Facebook, takes about 3 minutes. That shit sold out, and dudes are like, hey, something's wrong, it's not online. I'm like, and I'll look at the orders and it'll just print out 50 of them because they sold that fast. That sucks for you, I get it. There's a lot of stuff I see on Instagram and I'm like, hey, I totally want to buy that. How much is it? Oh, they're sold out. Oh, motherfucker. Like, I get it. I don't have time to watch that shit. There are certain groups that I'm in where I'm like, will you build another one? I'll buy it. I'll whatever you want for it. No, I'm not building another one. I'm like, god damn, fuck you then.
That's why you can't be on, like, Etsy. That's what Etsy is.
Yeah. Like, well, I'm in this, the Oddities warehouse. There's Oddities group that I'm in. There's a chick she's making these, like, flat keychains of Anubis. Well, she had made an Anubis. It's like a black dog, like life size, with big fucking gold foil ears and a nose and shit. Looks just like, Anubis. And I'm like, what did you make that out of? She goes, I used a coyote head. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like, can I commission you to make another one? I'll pay you, whatever for it. She's like, no, I'm not building another one. By the way, here's another one of an alligator with some ears and shit, and you can't have that one either. I'm like, can I commission you? Like, I'll pay you twice, whatever you sold that for, I will give you twice as much. I'll prepay you now.
That's the thing I don't understand.
And she's like, no, you can't. Fuck you. You're too late.
I don't understand that part. Like, if I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is I made. If I made a ghillie suit, and then somebody said, I'll pay you twice as much.
You might not want to say that on here.
No, why?
You want to build ghillie suits?
If somebody's paying me twice as much, yeah, I'll build a ghillie suit. Well, in theory, a ghillie suit, a real good one,
$1,000 at least.
A real good one, $300.
No.
Yeah, for a real good one. For a real good one, $300. If I was gonna make it, it would have to be $1,000.
If you want a signed.
If I was going to make it, it would have to be... If you want a
signed Skully, a Skull their own...
It would have to be $1,000. Yeah, it would have to be. It would have to be in that kind of range. You
totally fucked yourself,
No, I didn't.
Buddy.
I'm not going to get 100 orders for fucking ghillie suits.
No, you're going to be making ghillie suits till fucking Christmas. You're going to have a lot of Christmas money, though.
No.
You're gonna be able to buy the big tractor now, boy. You're going to get the big boy tractor. You're going to have a skid... You're going to have a whole fucking... parking lot full of tractors, and they'll all have radios and backup lights on them.
Shit, they'll still be over there. He called me, or he called me yesterday, and I called him back this afternoon, and he's like,
"You should be like, I'm gonna come see my tractor."
He goes, look, I talked to Gina last week, and I told her what the hang up was. Everything's done except for the rear lights. We can deliver the tractor. We can deliver the tractor to you with all the implements, and I'll send somebody out.
Which is what should have fucking happened 2 weeks ago.
And I'll send somebody out to put the rear lights in. And I'm like, no, that's the way I ordered it.
Did he say, please have Gina stop calling us?
I think that's what he was doing.
That's what I heard.
I think that's what he was doing. But I said, no, you just hold on to it till you get the lights. He goes, we've contacted Kubota, and any day now we should have the lights. But we can deliver it to you. And I go, no, because I've been in Tennessee long enough to know that once they drop that egg off at your house, they're going to be like, what lights? It'll be all another thing. So it's like, you don't bring that motherfucker to me until it is exactly what I am paying for. Anyways. So it'll be another week or two before I have a tractor.
Jack Spirko just sent me a message here I'm reading. He was talking about the Capri Sun pouch of all things.
Does he want some?
I don't think so, but hello, John Skully. Thanks for the podcast. I feel guilty asking. John Skully, thanks for the recommendations on enemies, foreign and domestic books. I just took a week off of listening to all podcasts to listen to the first 2 books and can say, holy shit. The story here hits way too close to reality in more ways than I'd like. Are there more books you would recommend from the SOE Mafia reading list? You're going to have to read it. It's not on audiobooks. Lights Out by David Crawford. Good book. I'm actually quoted on the back of that one. I'm going to have to get back to you on it. I watch a lot of tubers from California, and seems to me there are some great true Americans in that state. What the fuck does that mean? YouTubers. Just look at YouTube. I truly hate to see what's happening to that once great state now. It wasn't ever great. Anybody out of California was always fucking like, why the fuck are you guys in California?
I don't know that. I would say back in the Kitchen Creek days when you could just go out there and fucking shoot the mountain up and...
Cameron Station.
Do all that.
Shit, we were shooting out in Santee, man.
Doing all that. I think it was, when I was growing up, I'd say it was great. I used to fucking...
Yeah, but you had to drive 2 hours.
I used to fully kit up. Like, fully kit up. I had better gear than they had in the Marine Corps at the time, and walk through downtown Santee to get to the sand pits for our weekly war games. I don't know. It was a good time. I can't even imagine doing that now. You'd be so arrested and put on a fucking terrorist watch list. And
well, they would arrest you, and then they'd be like, oh, we got him. He's on the terrorist watch list already. Happy Easter, John. Looking forward to your next order. Right on, Edwo. Thank you. John Skully, Israel was very friendly when Pope John Paul was still alive. I think he means many in Israel, appreciated what John Paul had done during World War II to fight the Nazis and the communists. Right on. Best possible situation, says the acoustics are A-OK
in the broom closet. We don't do the broom closet.
Tropic Thunder movie quote. I don't know what this relish is called. I just know the sound it makes when I put it on my hot dog. I don't remember that part.
I don't either.
Great podcast, guys. You were talking about pay for new employees versus current. Have you ever tried production rate pay? No, we have too many fucking products, and we have too many girls on fucking completely different products. Like a flat rate pay, say $8 per hour plus X amount for 50 good quality pieces per day at $1 a piece, just for example. Not sure about the amount, but you get the gist of it. This would allow you to pay new people more than the current ones, and maybe even motivate some of those who have become stagnant. It also allows you to save money on oxygen thieves that are just there to get a check. Thanks for the podcast. I listen every day on the way to and from work. I work for a Tier 1 automotive manufacturing company, and we are hiring now and going through the same problems you were discussing. I have been a small customer for a few years now, but have a personal wish list that's the largest this is list of the largest customer you've ever had. I will get one purchase at a time. Please keep up the positive feed. It is huge in everyday life, and as you state, it will and does come back tenfold. I have come up with the name for the lunch you spoke about back in one of the earlier podcasts as a joke. The SOE First Baptist Church of what's happening now. I leave you with that and listen for what you think of the ideas. Right on, man.
We want a church. Just about breaking ground.
How'd you guys meet Ranger Dave? Was it through Mick? No. Mick was actually in federal prison when I met Ranger Dave. I parked next to crazy ass Ranger Dave at the Regal Cinema Theaters in Mira Mesa. Parked next to his Jeep. It had cami paint and helicopter fucking Kevlar seat backs and comms fucking flight deck helmets. I think he actually had helicopter helmets in there at the time. Bilge pumps in the back, all kinds of fucking crazy shit. I thought, this fool will definitely buy a tactical gear, so I left a business card. And he called me. And he's like, right on. That gives me a hard on. I could definitely get with that. I don't know. You know how Ranger Dave talks. So he's like, where are you at? I'll come over there now. So Ranger Dave drove his Jeep to my house 20 minutes away probably, and then stayed at my house for 30 days probably. I don't think he ever fucking left. And that's how I met Ranger Dave. How did you get, okay, time to share a story. I was listening to a podcast today, 419 on my phone, and it reminded me of an old school vids prior to the podcast about idiot customers. I got an email recently about an inbound order, and when I looked at the manifest, it made me scratch my head for a minute. I initially assumed it was going to be my most recent order. Turns out it's an old order that I placed in 2015. I was new back then and placed a bulk order that likely contained a no ETA item. Everything was no ETA back then. No idea now what the item was, but it's likely the split 4 mag chest rig. Yeah, that's exactly probably what it was. I'm here to tell you that they will build it for you at some point and get it to you. Guess how many times since 2015 I bitched, emailed, harassed, whined, and otherwise acted like a spoiled idiot about the order? Exactly 0 fucking times. It was like Christmas when this box showed up. It's very simple. You want good shit that you will stand the test of time, pay the money, and you'll get it. They will not fuck you over. If you move, just tell them and they can update your file. They are good people and will treat you as you treat them. Rant concluded. I wish you all the best. So, the website You used to be able, you still can order some stuff we don't have, but for the most part, the bigger items are all locked. Inventory's pretty fucking correct. When you ordered in 2015, almost everything on the website was unlocked. It was unlocked, so you could order fucking 20 things we didn't have. For the most part now, about 80% of our orders right now ship same or next day. We still have stuff that we have to build. Like backpacks are wide open. You could order it, and it might not ship tomorrow because we simply don't have your color. But we're running them every week. We're running 4 or 5 colors of backpacks, so it's constant. If time is your concern, you don't want to pay and have to wait for a week or whatever, get on the live feeds. Like, you can see every night when I walk around, you can see what's hanging on that wall, and you can go order it. And even then, if there's 10 dudes on there, if we got 4 backpacks of some color and 10 dudes order them, you're still going to wait, but we're going to build it for you. Black Friday, several years ago on Black Friday, dudes were like, hey, can I use the Black Friday sale for this? I know you don't have it. I'm like, sure, I'll open that. And dudes just saw me do that, and they're like, can you open this? Can you open this? Can you open this? Can you open this? So we did. I spent, fucking all of, Thursday and Friday or whatever, just unlocking things dudes were asking about. And then I would make a post. Hey, I just made this available to order it. We don't have it. And that thread went fucking hundreds of comments. We did just over $1 million that Black Friday sale, just unlocking the website and letting dudes order shit. And they knew we didn't have it. Well, the next couple years, we did the same thing. We did $1 million, $1.25 million, $1.5 million. That's where those long back orders came from. When you heard people talking shit about that, it wasn't ever a dude who placed the order. It was never one of the dudes who had the shit on order going, fuck you guys, I want a refund. Actually, out of thousands and thousands of orders, only a few people actually fucking asked for the refund. We did have dudes that would ask on a regular fucking basis, hey, when's this coming? Hey, when's this coming? Hey, when's this coming? Meanwhile, we had thousands of dudes not asking at all. So when we had a dude asking all the time, I would tell him, hey, we don't have it. As soon as it ships, you'll get a tracking order. We don't know when that's going to be. In the big bold red letters, it said, this is non-ETA, non-refundable. We don't have this. We have no fucking clue. By ordering this, you accept these terms. There were a few dudes who would fucking continue to ask and ask and ask. I'm like, hey, man, here's your money back. We cancel and refund it. I didn't want that. Well, you're the fucking one of 5 dudes that are fucking emailing me on a consistent basis. Meanwhile, there's fucking upwards of 10,000 guys saying nothing. Nowadays, those back orders, for the most part, are caught up. There's still some shit hanging out there. But nothing that's years and years old like that. So that's the deal with that. But the guys you heard, like when you'd see something, you still see it. Somebody's like, who makes the best belt? SOE. Yeah, it takes five years to get it. No, it never took 5 years to get a belt. And the dudes talking shit, when you ask them their order number, they never have an order number. It's never one of the customers that's out there running his mouth. It's always somebody who has never fucking done business with us. Great podcast, guys. I'm now going to light my ass on fire because I want to see more of the killer podcast. Skully, what's the furthest distance you've given a turd burglar a canoe rack? Keep up the great work, guys. He's asking that he split his dome. What's the furthest you've shot a man in the head? That's what he's saying.
What's the furthest I've shot a man in the head? What a crazy. That's the assumption that I shoot people in the head.
What's the furthest that you've shot a man's finger off when he was pointing at you?
Well, that's easy. That was 350 yards.
I thought it was 351.
It was 350 yards.
And the wind was moving to the right a little bit.
You're right. And I actually had to shoot through a Datsun. It was a Datsun pickup truck to shoot through the window because he was standing on the passenger side of the vehicle.
Were you in a helicopter?
No, I was on a building.
Was there glass and chain link involved?
Just glass, no chain link.
Hey, John, I really like your idea for selling Cordura and shit since I'm looking for 5 yards of multicam black to wrap the headliner of my Tundra. Since I'm going with marathon seat covers in multicam black, the shit gray headliner shows everything. Brandon Davis says, the blue line stickers don't mean anything to me when I pull someone over. If someone mentions it, I say thanks and do what I was going to do anyways. I even gave one of my lieutenant's sons a ticket. To his credit, his dad never gave me grief over it, but everyone else did. I just told them his son is an adult and doesn't get special treatment. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I find the blue line shit obnoxious. I find the fuck the police shit obnoxious. Just be normal. I would agree with that. Fetzner says, loving the podcast, guys. Hope you keep it up. Have been buying gear here and there for the 5 to 6 years. Of course, use the EDC belt every day. When you trade in the 4Runner, you have to get a G-Wagon. Seems fitting for you. There's not a motherfucker at Mercedes that will tell you to buy a G-Wagon.
I want a G-Wagon.
You want a different one.
I want a G-Wagon, but it's a little out of my price range.
They've always been helpful in my own life. Have always appreciated your hard work ethic and long hours. Did I miss something? Have always enjoyed hearing your talks, quick tips, and rants. Willingness to get done what needs to be done. Currently running a family business in upstate New York. Even as the manager, I am the guy there weekends and cleaning, repairing, etc. Anything to keep things moving and helping everyone keep the flow and momentum going in the shop. Keep up the good work. Hope to be able to stop by someday. You come by anytime, man. There's a dude out there right now. When we walked in here, down here, there was a dude out there. He's in town for class early. Jeremy Peck. Public educators are the source of most of the issues. I have a family member who is a grade school teacher, and she is literally the dumbest person I know, to include being in her mid-40s and saying things like a child. Birthday equals birthday, and that equals dat. She is capable of talking like a fucking adult, but thinks she's a giant 6-year-old. Obviously, you don't have to be a genius to teach basic math, but it's the mentality that these idiots impart on our children that has me scared. When your child spends more time with that waste of oxygen than his or her own parents, you will see them change. This is the same underpaid teacher that buys a new car she can't afford every year and is literally sleeping in a pop-up camper on her side yard during the winter because it's cheaper to heat. Think about that for a second. I'd rather eat my young than leave them to be influenced by the collection of these useless fucks.
Yeah, that's it. They're all over out there, and they're teaching our kids.
If you add up the hours that a teacher actually works, they're actually paid pretty well. They get almost 6 months a year off, I believe it is, if you really stop and think about it. The other thing is,
every holiday,
you have to make choices. People are like, oh no, we can't not have public school. What would I do with my kids all day? Well, the majority of the people saying that, they're at home. They are capable of fucking raising their children. They just want 6 hours to do whatever the fuck it is they do for 6 hours while their kids are at school. It's actually 8 hours, and now it's closer to 10 with fucking, travel time and commute, if you think about it. Many teachers are completely worthless. Remember the adage, those who can't teach. So a man in a wheelchair lit himself on fire at the White House. Good job, Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
Oh, good job, Hot Wheels. That comment hurt my guts laughing so fucking hard. Hello, gentlemen. I use the term lightly. Laugh out loud. I had one of the episodes on. They all blend together between listening to episodes on Spotify and watching old episodes on YouTube. However, you mentioned how parents try to be friends with their kids and are surprised when they don't listen. My mom used to piss me off and thought she was mean, but looking back, I'm grateful for the discipline and directness. Now it's my turn, and I rule the house fair, but when discipline is needed, it's swift and harsh. Do you guys have any memories of being pissed at your parents that you look back on now as a foundational part of how you are with your own kids? P.S. I ordered the Easter mystery item. Now I feel like a kid waiting. Thanks for the gear, podcast, videos, and most thankful for being contagious. Do you remember your mom being? You remember being mad at your mom for anything?
I don't think so. I don't think I was ever had an opportunity to be mad at my mom. I don't think I ever did. And the reality, though, she was, as an adult now, I was a spoiled.
Fuck yeah.
I was a spoiled child. I have a brother and sister in there, and my brother is 7 years older than me. And, you don't know what you don't know. So, as the youngest child, I was basically just going to school and doing whatever the fuck I want. My mom was working 2 jobs, so we got a house in Middle America, Santee, California, good neighborhood, good schools, all that. But she had to work 2 jobs to pay the mortgage. And there was a point where she was going to start doing 3 jobs, and I didn't even know this until just like maybe a couple years ago. There was a point where she was going to work another job, and my brother was like, no, you're going to quit one of the jobs, and I am going to work to pay the mortgage, so you won't have to worry about that anymore. He got a really good job working sport fishing boats down in San Diego, and was paying the fucking, helping my mom paying the note.
Teaching him landing.
Yep. He was working on the, back when everybody had to have their own marlin boat or tuna boat. He was working those, and that led to a really good career in hydraulics, and now he works for one of the biggest hydraulic companies in San Diego, works on all the Navy ships and stuff like that. But I had it pretty good, and even when my mom was like there was a couple of times where my mom was mad at me, and she would she'd get that slipper out, and it was just hilarious that she thought she was doing something with the slipper. I just thought, okay, just don't laugh. All I kept thinking was, you can't laugh, because then she's going to call your dad, and my dad wouldn't fuck around. Like, my dad, he would not fuck around. We're talking double 1.75 leather belt. He did not fuck around. And so you would just be like, okay, you have to convince her that this was punishment, that her way was punishment enough, and not have dad, because she would use dad like a nuclear option. So there was a time, that's the only time I saw my father, was when he was coming over to fucking whip my ass. But my mom never, and even today, I can't think of any time where I was really mad at my mom.
Speaking of being contagious, yesterday at the gym, this little fat kid shows up. More power to him, man. He's in there and he's doing shit. He's got, maybe it was Friday, he's got this other kid with him that's fucking pretty goofy. And the other kid is in better shape than the fat kid. But the fat kid's out there doing real shit, right? So he's on the flat bench and he's benching, 135. And then he gets up and he's doing lunges. But they're lunging not in the back room, not in the back of the building. They're lunging right where the fucking everybody's at. And I'm like, what the fuck? They got to have a camera with them or something, right? They're recording all the people. So his buddy goes to bench and picks it up, and there's only one plate on there or something. So
God. Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Right? Weird. So I'm watching this. But the kid, he's working out. He is either used to work out and something happened to him, and now he's a fat guy, and he's trying to get himself fixed, or he has just watched YouTube videos and been able to emulate them really well. Because his form is good. He definitely seems like he's been in the gym before. So this morning I come in, and he's in there. Before I get there, he's in there. And I'm doing legs, so I'm on the other side. But I'm watching this kid, and he's doing lat pulls. Does a few sets of those. Goes to the pec deck. Does a few sets of those. Gets on the chest press. And he's just bouncing all over the place. But his form is clean, right? And he's working out. And the fucking typical 5 retards are in there. And they're just fucking standing there. One of them will do a set, and he'll get up and fucking shuffle over, and they'll all huddle up, right? Yeah. I've got my music on, literally as fucking loud as it'll go, and I'm trying to ignore them, but I see this, and this kid's just moving. Boom, 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 boom. And something happens where, I don't know if he smiled at one of them.
That's it.
Or he just fucking said, hey, right on, because they fucking, boom, they just fucking went just like flies to shit and surrounded him. And they're just talking and talking and talking and talking and
That's
talking.
it.
And literally for the next 30, 40 minutes, this kid does, I'm watching this. Like, I'm facing that direction. He does probably 2, maybe 3 sets of exercises the rest of the time. So I'm going to leave and I go in the bathroom to wash my hands. And he's in there and he's stripping down, about to get in the shower. Most people at the gym don't go and take showers. That's kind of a weird thing for that area, but okay. So I'm like, hey, yes, sir. I go, you need to remember that all them dudes out there are contagious. He goes, yes, sir. I go, you just did, when I walked in here, you did more work the first 15, 20 minutes I was here than all 5 of those retards put together. You need to remember that they are contagious, and you better make damn sure you want to catch what they have to fucking get you, what you're going to catch from them. You better make damn sure you want to catch it. Because the next 40 minutes you were in here, once you started speaking to them, you didn't do shit. I go, whatever your reason is for being here, you've got it, man. Like, you have this in you. You can do this, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. But when you get fucking caught up in that bullshit, you're not going to be able to do any of it. So just remember, those dudes are fucking contagious. He's like, yes, sir. I go, you got this, man. And I just walked out. Whether he heard what I fucking meant, I don't know.
That's probably his uncles or some shit. Tomorrow they're going to be like...
Maybe. But they're fucking pieces of shit, every one of them. You got the same motherfuckers wearing the same dirty clothes, talking about... You got 45... They're literally like Ted Bundy. Ed Bundy, the fucking TV show, Married with Children. They're 45 years old talking about that last football game in high school and how they were banging their girlfriend. Like, that's those dudes. Like, they're not fucking talking about a fucking thing they're doing. Sitting shit on fire back with, like, the patch panel years ago. Ha, keep it up, good shit. Oh, the dude at in the wheelchair. 503, service unavailable. Server unable to handle requests due to temporary overloading.
I like that. Temporary overloaded, bro.
That is
503.
Totally not what that means.
100%.
What up, John and Skully? I dig the podcast. Listen to them on my way to work and on my way home. John, ideas for your watchtower utility poles as the basis. I don't know what the fuck he's talking. I mean, I know the watchtower, but I think there's something missing here. Black and white tegus can be scary motherfuckers. My female, that's usually calm, went ballistic in my backyard. I went out there to get her after she got out. Me going out to get her turned into her chasing me around the backyard. I was able to wrestle her into submission and got her back to the enclosure, and then she went back to normal after about 30 minutes. Have you noticed that those lizards, tegus especially, monitors too somewhat, but tegus especially, when they get in natural sunlight, they go fucking crazy. It's something about, like, you can have UVB and UVA lights and all that shit, but when they get in real sunlight, they will go fucking psycho. Assange is an Aussie, not an American. He can't be charged with treason. Awesome podcast. Listen,
they're not charging him with treason. They're charging him with
hacking.
Hacking, yeah.
Which is a charge that did not exist when he did it.
Which charge did not exist when he did it. It's just my sneaky suspicion. I don't think Assange sees any jail time.
I hope not. Awesome podcast. Listen to everyone. Sent you an email about trees from my order. I listen on Google and don't usually post comments, but keep them up past 100 and make Skully do some burpees, laugh my ass off. Keep up the moto videos. Godspeed and Semper Fi. Buy SOE if you want quality gear. Irish USMC vet.
I don't know. Could be.
Could it? That's not.
No, it can't be.
No way.
It wouldn't be. He's not that motivated.
John Skully, 503. Not sure what it means. Have a few ideas, but I'm ordering a shirt anyways. Little secret for you guys. Every one of our shirts has 503 in it somewhere. I think it can relate. Do you see it? Let me see.
On the back?
I don't see it on this one. It's in all of them, man. John Skully, 503, not sure what it means. Have a few ideas, ordered a shirt anyways. I think I can relate to it because of something my friends and I started saying years back with the number 250. Started out as the price someone wanted for a shitty old dirt bike and got pinned on lots of things. How much for the dirt bike? $250. What size shoes are you? $250. What time will you be home? $250. And so on and so on. No matter what the question was, the answer was always $250, whether it made sense or not. We made stickers for our trucks and motorcycles. I'm pretty sure there's a picture of my birthday cake on one year on Facebook with a big $250 candle. This whole thing really annoyed people just because they didn't know what the fuck it meant, and we wouldn't tell them. Hope to see a moon pie patch soon. I'm still fucking laughing from the kitchen video. Next purchase is going to be a day pack in Coyote, I think. Enjoy the short morning motivational videos in the morning. Keep up the good work. We'll comment again soon. Right on, man. Hey, John, I was wondering if you or Skully have seen the Mahindra Roxor. It's basically a brand new Willys Jeep for $15,000.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's not. I may be completely wrong. If I remember right, they said it's not going to be street legal, so it's going to be like just an ATV. They're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. That apparently they're making them exactly the way they were made back in the 40s. So all steel body and shit like that.
Hey guys, do you have any good negligent discharge stories? I don't have any firearm ND stories, but I did drop a pin flare one time. Was getting ready for a patrol one night and forgot I had stuck it in my flak jacket. It hit the floor in the hooch and bounced off the walls with a loud pop. Smoke filled up the room, almost got paperwork over the accident, but luckily I only got my ass chewing.
Yeah, that could be a. We had a kid. So, if you're a Marine, you know this to be true, especially in the last 10 years. The Marine Corps loves issuing out gear. If you are overseas, the Marine Corps loves issuing out gear and then just being like, "Here you go, figure it out. Deuces, we're going home." They love doing that, and they did that when they started doing the stupid pin flare thing that we had to shoot pin flares at the cars that were following too close to convoys. That's what they did. They just handed everybody these pin flares. We had not had our pin flares for. I'll bet we haven't had them for a week.
Do you still have the black tube? Came with 7 or 9 flares?
Yeah, that's how they go. And we hadn't had them for a week, and this kid is in the turret of his Humvee.
Launches one down.
And he fucking pulls his pin. We're still in the fob too. We're in the fob. Pulls the pin flare out, and he's fucking around with the pin flare with the flare on it. And boom, fires that motherfucker off right into his fucking cheek, man. He got fucked up.
Did it go into it?
Yeah, it went into his fucking cheek. Lighting on fire and shit. They had to put his face out. It's pretty bad, but they do that all the time.
We had an ammo can full of them. So, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And we were at Dwayne's house for 4th of July.
Just shooting them off?
We were shooting them off, like, over his house. But right on the other side of the house was a farmer's field. I don't think anything happened, but all that shit, like, they had to see all that shit later when they were coming, like, days later or whatever. I mean, we put fucking hundreds of them out over there. Got a Ritchie Brothers auction house about 25 miles down the interstate. I have to avoid the place like you, John. Laugh out loud. John Skully, you guys ever been to Mexico and had a legit Mexican hot dog with all the fixins? No, I have not. Yes, been to Mexico. I have not had that hot dog. Had my first one at the Pro-Am baseball game in Mazatlan. No, we used to see the little street carts that had it looked like half a hot dog with a bacon wrapped around it.
Yeah.
Great podcast, just
it's
in
been
time
so
for the drive
long
home.
Since I've been to fucking Mexico. God,
I don't think
90s.
we can just go to going to Mexico is not like it was, man. I don't think that is the place to fucking go anymore.
Well, they have more people killed there than we've had in the war, so I'm gonna stay over here where they don't chop people's heads off.
France is in turmoil. Working people are being taxed into poverty. There's no money to pay for a restoration of the cathedral. Tickle set it on fire, then have other people pay for it on a wave of sympathy, or maybe I'm too cynical.
Well, they've already got $400 million pledged for the rebuilding of the cathedral. And so, since it wasn't totally destroyed, I don't see how it's going to cost that much more. But, since everybody wants their minimum wage raised, it probably will cost more.
The Catholic Church has a fuck ton of money, assets, and resources. I'm concerned they will make it a monument to globo, homo, gayplex instead of a rock of Western civilization. Edit, of course they will demagogue in order to make paper. Hey Daniel, from what I understand, 2 of the wealthiest guys in France have donated and pledged hundreds of millions, and the French state will double that, which should be enough for restoration. That would make sense. I mean, that way their name is attached to it, and they are now in history. The ND is a heritage site, so that should mean they will restore and not add modern architecture to it. But watching the Yellow Vest protests live on RT every Saturday night, these people are still going strong.
I'm glad they're still going strong.
Minks, John, do you have any? I do not have any minks.
Have you ever had any minks? You've
No.
had some weird shit.
I've never even seen a mink, I don't think. I mean, I see mink jackets all the time. Anytime we see furs, like Amanda puts them on, they never fit, It's always mostly like big fat kind of people. I watched a video where this guy was using them to hunt down rats on his farm. I've seen those videos. Yeah, and the guy comes out with like dachshunds and rat terriers, and they tear some fucking rats up too, man. You ever see a dog catch a rat? They just fucking like shake them around. John, with the reparations and the Democrats appealing to the black populist base about such, it's just like what Skully said before. The Democratic Party is the party of slavery. Do you two know what former president LBJ said about blacks and welfare? Better yet, how he worded it. I do not.
I don't know exactly what he said, but he wasn't. He wasn't the hero of the community that they think. He was actually trying to when he signed that legislation in, he was actually trying to. What he was doing was that thing we always talk about is look over here, because of the escalation of what was going on in Vietnam at the time. He was actually trying to change how people thought about him, even though he was escalating events in Vietnam.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Noodles. Getting ready for a small SOE purchase. Love the podcast 100. Love the podcast 100 plus. My professor said he lived in Canada for a while, Skully and John. While there, he flew the Canadian flag and the American flag. But because he lived in Canada, he flew the Canadian flag up top, and below that was the American flag, because he recognized where he was. Where I'm going with this is that you're right, Skully and John. If you move to a foreign country, bring those countries' values with you. I don't have a problem with Canadian
come on, that's
flag
just
on
North.
top.
That's just North America. That's all Canada is. North America. It's like a suburb of.
Canada's really a
America.
federal park. We just we allow them to keep it for a while because they're not polluting the water we're going to steal from them.
Yeah,
and when we take all their timber,
everybody knows that all their natural resources belong to us.
Yeah,
Even the Canadians.
Pretty much. I mean, they're north. Water runs downhill, so all their water is coming to us. Yep, it's the same people screaming revolution at the gun show weighing 300, 400 pounds, saying what they're going to do when shit hit the fan. But the hard reality of it is you're likely not going to leave the house or make it very far because of your condition you're in. I do know some dudes that are heavy and will go to work, but there's not many. Well, most of those dudes rely on a lot of medication to survive, as well as, a CPAP, for instance. There's a lot of shit, there's a lot of consumables in those people's lives that once those supplies run out, that's it. That's all of them. It's got to be your shoe on that door. There is a difference between an acquaintance and a friend. I have a shitload of acquaintances, but maybe 4 friends. My friends come to my house sleep at the house, I'd give money and not expect it back kind of shit. Acquaintances are networking, and maybe you see at a barbecue gathering of some sort. Some kind of relationship that doesn't really mean anything and is generally for mutual gain. People seem to not really either know their place or understand the difference because everyone is their friend and often get screwed because of it. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Skully.
Uh-oh.
There's no boogeyman over at the FAA or in DoD Aviation that is loading that amount of crap you would need to make chemtrails. It is altitude and temp. Jack Wagoner says, XNXX, what's that? Has all the greatest shoe porn.
Sure does. Sure does. That's the one. It's just the easiest to use because they don't have a lot of pop-ups. You just get right to the meat and potatoes of what you're looking for. It is the best one to use. Even like when people want to go to Pornhub, even Pornhub is too complicated to get where you need to go. So
it's too censored.
That is the way to go. Is right there. XNXX.
Like the crazy shit's not there.
It is there.
On there.
Yep.
How about viruses?
Nothing.
Do you think if Trump got 4 more years, he would try to go after the real problems? Obama, Clinton, Kerry, the permanent government.
I don't think as the president of the United States you can go after the permanent government. I don't think you can. You know, you got people right now that are talking about they still want to impeach Trump, even though there was no crime. So you can't really go after the permanent government, even if he got 4 more years. The only thing that 4 more years gets us is that's all it's going to get us is another Supreme Court judge, because she ain't going to make it.
She's already dead.
It's weird that they haven't already came out.
She hasn't appeared at anywhere.
It's weird that they haven't already came out and said she's dead, because it's almost too late for Trump to put in another Supreme Court judge. They could stall it long enough to where it wouldn't happen until after the election anyways.
Episode 87, you brought up Kubota needing a week for parts. That's outrageous. Just like the cunts at GM, who told me it would be at least 2 weeks for an ignition part. Next day, via Amazon, and for half the cost. Sincerely, fuck you dealers.
Yeah, I'm waiting on something stupid. Like right now, I'm waiting on lights. That's it. Rear lights. Some
good advice I got was, if you're going to send an angry message, type it out, wait 24 hours. If it's still important to you, after that, send it. Also, sometimes we don't have bad days. We have bad moments. We milk into bad days. Yeah, 1000%, man. Max says, John, you probably already know this listening to the podcast. You were talking about planting bamboo. That shit grows amazing, quick, and will fill in the space in no time at all. The only pain in the ass about it is it gets top heavy, and if you get ice, will lay down pretty quickly, but it makes great filler vegetation. Yep. Then there's fucking hundreds of kinds too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people have it around here.
I know this is probably more than a few days late, but Skully, it is hugely important that she stays off of her feet. I have had about 15 different back injections. Whether it's steroids or the super red blood injection that your mom may have gotten, but either way, it is important to stay off your feet for a few days. Otherwise, from what I was told, you can literally squeeze that stuff out of the area it is trying to fix. I hope she does well with it and it fixes her issue. And commenting on the same podcast, this was from Skully, you were more than gracious to me both times I came in.
Yeah, that she did say she was staying in bed for a couple of days to let that stuff sink in. I guess that's what the doctors told her. But she's doing good.
Which SOE products did Skully bring with him when he went to war?
Which SOE products? When I went to war? Hey, you know what? I have multiple National Defense Awards, so which war are we talking about, motherfuckers?
How would Skully set up an 870 for home defense?
How would I set up an 870 for home defense?
Just back pistol grip, front pistol grip, heat shroud.
Yeah, just have a light on that motherfucker.
And 2 pistol grips.
Definitely 2 pistols.
No stock.
No, I would buy this. I would buy if I was going to use an 870. I would get rid of the stock, get the bird foot, get that little eagle beak, and I would get the Sidewinder drum kit that you can put on there, so you can have a drum on the fucking thing.
Are you fucking around?
Of course I'm fucking around. It's a real thing though. The Sidewinder drum. It's a
get a grip so that you can pump it from the top of the gun.
The only thing you need to do is add the only thing you need to do.
Yeah, don't do shit to it.
The only thing you need to do is put a fucking light on it. I do not personally. So 870 is not my go-to, and I know everybody's going to cringe when I say this. 870 is not my go-to gun for home defense. I'm not going to tell you which gun I'm using because it's different, but I prefer the Mossberg because I'm left-handed, so I can hit that safety no problem and still keep on the gun. So I'm using a Mossberg type of weapon system for that shotgun home defense gun. But my biggest problem with home defense for me personally is, by the time whoever he's going to have to wait. So like when he opens the door to the bedroom or to the living room, or he opens the door to the guest bedroom and I'm in there, I need extra time because I'm going to be like, which one? My biggest problem is which one am I going to use? Which gun am I really going to go to for home defense? Because there's just such a plethora of, I want to see what this one will do on soft tissue, or do I want? Because here's the biggest problem is a lot of the guns I have are pretty expensive, and no matter what, if you do douche somebody with a fucking gun in your house, the cops are going to take that gun in as evidence, and you don't really know when you're going to get that gun back. So it's almost, to the point where I might have to get that gun that I keep in the paper bag, get that gun out and shoot it, because when the cops take it, they're going to be like, I could keep the paper bag, and I won't be upset that they're holding on to my whatever other gun. So I don't know. It just depends.
Skully, my last name is Molino.
Molino.
It originated as Molina. My grandfather was adopted. When he went to the Navy, they read his name with an O at the end, and it changed his name. Being that he was adopted, he kept the name to give himself his own identity. Did you ever have any similar events happen like that when you were in?
Well, that's where Skully came from, is they couldn't say my fucking last name. And so, from the time from boot camp all the way till now, it's always been Skully. Even the Commandant of the Marine Corps, when he came out to Mogadishu to visit us, he was like, "Where's Skully?" So, it's always been, that's just followed me around the whole time. And it was just because one of the drill instructors could not say my last name. And so, that's where it came from.
John, in response to the bungee leash, you've been contagious, and I've started getting up at 5 and going to the gym. I hate running, but do it anyways. I was wanting to start taking the dog with me. The bungee keeps the leash close while running without him tugging on me. Also, we've had a PetSmart one that didn't last, and finally, and most importantly, it would just be badass to have knowing it's made in the motherfucking USA by SOE. Thanks as always. Molina, what length do you want it to be? And do you want that length at stretch or at retraction at rest? We can do something. Just get in touch with me. Spearco shouted you out the other day. He was talking about basic life skills that people should have. He said, John Willis is driving a Porsche because of sewing, and you're not. It was great. Yeah, I listened to that. Jack actually told me he had shouted me out on that episode. What I thought was, come on, man, you got to give me more credit than that. I have more than one Porsche.
This is true. He does have more
as
than one
far
Porsche.
As resumes and hiring people, us, indeed... What does that fucking say? To get resumes, and can't tell you how many times I get resumes that have defunct phone numbers and full voicemail boxes. People all screen the calls so they don't answer, of course. Also, we get a lot of applicants from very far away. I almost think people just submit applications to say that they did to satisfy requirement to maintain unemployment benefits. We believe that's the case too.
That's probably the case, yeah.
When we have a girl come in, it's usually followed by 11 more. We have a dozen come in at a time. We actually set everyone on a machine. Many of them are like, don't last 5 minutes. Some make it through the whole day. We'll tell 6 of them be here tomorrow morning. Like they come in a wave. We'll be like, okay, 6 of you, be here tomorrow morning. 3 won't show up. We'll have 3. At the end of the week, 2 won't show up. And you got a 50-50 chance that the one that's there won't be there 90 days later.
Yeah.
This just isn't for me, or I'm just not getting this. They literally do better the first, second, and third day than they do the second and third week. It's baffling. They're not actually interested in getting an actual job. Regarding the UFO, there was a training device they made for the astronauts to practice hovering and landing. It was pretty dangerous from what I heard. I don't know if they'd be flying in residential areas. On the subject of college and worthless degrees, older baby boomers are having their Social Security checks garnished for unpaid student loans. Imagine that.
Well, I mean, the reason why is because they're very low interest loans, and so people defer them out as long as they possibly can to pay them off. Once again, I'm sorry for the old people having to pay those. They're getting garnished, but they took those loans out. There's nothing. I'm buying a tractor. I can't bitch about it 6 months from now and go, oh my God, I can't pay this fucking tractor off. Will the government jump in and help me? I took that on. Me, personally, took that on. Every single person that fucking signed up for a student loan, they took that debt on. It is not my fault, or it is not the America's fault that they took that debt on. No matter what, you can lie to yourself and say, oh, well, everybody was forcing people to go to college, or everybody was forcing people. Bullshit. You took that debt on.
Forced me to buy a house.
If you're too stupid, then you know what? You're the one that should be paying the debt off anyways.
You know how you get rid of that tractor debt? You have a couple options. You put a much bigger down payment on.
Yes.
And then when you go to sell it, you sell it for enough to pay off the loan and hopefully profit a little.
Yes.
Number 2, you make much bigger payments.
And
do the exact same fucking thing.
Same thing.
Or you just fucking pay on it for 7 years till you're done fucking paying it.
Or you just go to fucking Kubota because
your other option is
0%.
Your other
APR,
option in
so
a couple years
is me anything.
Your other option in a couple years is you take it to Kubota and you trade it in on a more expensive one, and you just keep making your fucking payments. Yeah. On the subject of college and worthless degrees, older baby boomers. John, a couple of podcasts ago, someone said the truck drivers can drive 14 hours. That is false. We are allowed to work for 14 hours, but can only drive for 11 of those 14. There are some instances where you can drive longer, weather, unforeseen traffic, etc., but you have to pull over and take a 10 break as soon as it is safe to do so. Love listening to you two talk, and will try to comment more to keep you guys doing the podcast. Thanks for all the great gear. Been wearing my belt every day for about 6 years now, and entertainment. Thank you.
Who is it?
I don't know.
It's a truck driver. The T-Story. T-Story. Hey, what's the weirdest shit you've ever hauled in your truck?
And yes, you're absolutely... Yeah, tell us some lot lizard stories or some crazy fucking hijacker stories. Not hijacker, but hitchhiker. Same thing.
Yeah.
And yes, you're absolutely right. The Earth would be fine. Cloud seeding. Yes, the Russian state did it in the aftermath of Chernobyl to bring down the contamination out of the air prior to it reaching places in Russia where important people lived.
Technically a lie. That fucking... That cloud went all the way to Paris. They have radiation contamination in London or England from that cloud. It went every fucking where.
Gentlemen, thank you both for your time and effort doing these podcasts. Find them super useful.
I'm not saying you were lying. I'm just saying that the Russians that's what they told everybody. You know why? Because most people, because you can't really see, taste, touch radiation. So if they tell you the lie that, don't worry guys, we put sand on it, it'll be fine, you're just going to go, oh, okay, it's fine.
Gentlemen, thank you both for your time and effort and doing these podcasts. Find them super useful when on late night diaper and feeding duty. Have a question for Skully. Would like to hear his opinion on an AR-10 or any 308 in an AR platform. Thank you in advance for your contribution, Daryl Cunningham.
It just depends on what you have to. I talked about this yesterday. You know, like I have the patrol rifle. You know, it just depends on what you think you're going to be doing. There is a viable reason to carry a 5.56 gun because of the amount, the weight of ammunition that you can carry versus a 308 gun. You know, 308 ammo gets heavy real quick, and you tend not to have the volume of fire that you have with the 5.56 gun. 5.56 is problematic. It's not a very good fucking caliber for shooting people, but you can carry more ammo and you can create more volume of fire. And unlike square bay range stuff, when it's real, volume of fire is very important, because the more rounds you can put down range, the better off you're going to be. Accurate volume of fire, but even not accurate volume of fire is good.
Good points about saving money. Both sides of the argument are valid until you get to the UK. 2008, 2009, when the banks went tits up, many people lost savings. Now, most people live for the day. As of St. George's Day 2019, the UK is still in Europe. Thank you for all at SOE. Great podcast and insight.
Sorry to see you guys lost that money. You know, that's one of the things that happened to us in the 20s when that first market crash went. Everybody lost everything. That's why you saw everybody on the streets and the bread lines and the soup lines and people really out of work, because nothing was guaranteed. So nothing was guaranteed. That is why now the federal government in the United States guarantees up to $200,000. So for a middle class family, you know, upper middle class family, that's great. If the banks if we have a collapse, the banks have to guarantee that $200,000. So my savings is technically safe in a bank in the United States, because they needed people to put money in the bank, because after the first collapse, so when you think, you know, in the United States, and everybody, especially my age, will know that grandparent that used to hide money all over the house. That was because of the bank collapse. After the big collapse in the 20s and 30s, or the 20s, even though the federal government was like, hey, we're going to secure this much of your savings if the fucking bank collapses again, that generation that lived through the Depression was like, fuck the banks. I'm filling my mattress. I'm putting it in books. Coffee cans, burying it in the yard, because you can't trust the banks. So that was the big problem, was getting people to put money back into the banks. And that's why they had to guarantee that much money. If we have a real fucking collapse, like when I say a real collapse, a collapse more akin to what happened back then versus the little bullshit bubbles that we've had burst here in the United States, would the federal government be able to guarantee all that money?
That's what I was thinking.
Probably not. They probably wouldn't be able to. It's just, you know, it's just one of those
false sense of security to get you to keep using the bank system.
It's just one of those things that the government does, that it's like, it's kind of like when people talk about a disaster. One of the great things about the United States is we're big enough. We are big enough that if, you know, let's say California has a disaster or Texas has some sort of disaster, there is enough people outside of that area within the United States that can go and help that area and get that area back up, you know, whether it's law enforcement, fire department, National Guard units, blah, 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 whatever. There's enough people outside of the infected area that can help get that community back on its feet. But if the whole country, if there's something that happens through the whole country, like, I don't know, some fucking, you guys are going to hate me for this, but some Mexican, he's not a Mexican, but some El Salvadorian comes across the border and he has fucking smallpox, swine flu, and it spreads through the country like fucking wildfire because no one has been inoculated for smallpox except for the military guys. that could be a fucking serious problem that we wouldn't be able to fix. I don't know how we got on the smallpox from the bank, but...
Tactical Midget says, Skully, your beard took the fuck off. It was barely there last year at Alumni.
Oh, yeah, it does that. I almost feel like cutting it off again.
Yeah, when isn't it November you always shave it?
I don't know when I did it. I think it was just the fucking hair gets stuck in the stock of my M4, and every time I pull my rifle down, a chunk of hair comes out.
Is that true?
It's 100% true.
You should just go to something more technologically advanced, like an M2 carbine.
Yeah, an M2 carbine would be cool if you could get one. I mean, I could have one here, but...
Made by Singer Sewing.
Oh, man, that thing would be so expensive. I don't even know if
I didn't even look at them on the tables. Like, I didn't even look. I saw a bunch of what looked to be M2 carbines at that show. You know those. I didn't even, like... I was kind of curious. I never even did turn a price tag over to look at it, though. I'll bet those are fucking... What do you think they are? $3,000?
Yeah, the thing about that, like I said before in there, is the problem with a show like that is it's small enough that group travels together, or they always get together at the same time. And everybody in those rooms, they know what the nickel value is. They know it. You're not going to run into that guy who's, yeah, this is my grandpa's M1 Garand. I'm just looking to sell it. You got $500? You're not going to run into that guy at that show because I looked at him. I looked at the tags and I'm like,
how much were they?
Well, I mean, I was looking at M1 Garands, and they were market value. But
what is market value on an M1 Garand?
On just a Springfield Armory, which is Springfield Armory is the most prolific. So it's the one that's out there. It's their dime a dozen. $1,200.
Really?
Yeah.
Remember when they were like 150?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we'll save these ones for tomorrow.
Oh, we're already there, huh? All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's a lot of papers.
I got to eat.
Oh, John's got to eat.
I smelled some food out here.
He's got to feed the machine.
I smelled some food out here. I think Chef's got something ready to eat.
There's no way Chef has something ready to eat.
Chef was cooking something.